Greetings of peace, and thanks for tuning in. May the peace and blessings of God's source be with you. So, this channel is dedicated to the Schumann Resonance. My first video was yesterday, so thanks to all those who subbed and watched the video. This channel is also dedicated to how we raise the Schumann Resonance, and obviously I see some success already in helping us raise the Schumann resonance, as we have a nice Schumann resonance spike here at 45. So thank you to all those out there that embodied the God source codes to expand consciousness and to raise the frequency of each other. So you got some proof in the pudding here. Now the forecast is still, we're going to get some Schumann spikes between Thursday of this week and till Wednesday. We should get some Schumann spikes over 40 plus. We already got one today, which was a little bit unexpected, but I kind of expected it too, because one of the ways to raise the vibration or the Schumann resonance and our vibration is to embody light codes. God light codes, God source light codes. And by embodying this raises our vibration, and since we are all one, we raise the vibration of the earth, and we see the results here on the Schumann resonance. So we see great results already. I also have another channel called Floral Law, which I put out, God source codes as well. And I noticed that when I make a very impactful video that's got a lot of God source codes, I do notice the Schumann resonance spike usually the next day, just as we see here. So very grateful. We did this together. This wasn't all me. This is definitely more of all of us together, raising the Schumann resonance together here. So that's great. I'm super happy about that. I see some results already. I wasn't really expecting to see such major results. So there's some proof in the pudding here already that my techniques and practices of how to raise the Schumann resonance are effective, and you'll see as time goes on that I will be able to forecast Schumann resonance spikes. And we are still on course for the Thursday to Friday Schumann resonance blasts above 40 plus later on this week. As I mentioned before, the light codes, how to raise a Schumann resonance, is embodying God source codes. I do this by reading the Quran, praying 5 times a day, remembrance of God source, and we can do this in all sorts of ways. By doing good deeds, by thinking of God, the presence of God, as God is omnipresent, He's omnipotent, He's all-powerful, and He's omniscient. He's all-knowing, all-seeing, all-hearing. So knowing the characteristics of God, the qualities of God, that He is the unique creator of all that exists. Giving charity, forgiveness, gratitude, and meditation. As giving to others is like giving to yourself, because we are all one. Forgiving others and ourselves, because we are all one. Gratitude is being grateful, to ourselves. Meditation is very important, is that we can quiet the ego and attain higher states of consciousness. So another way to increase the Schumann resonance, as I find in the vibration, is celibacy. You don't want to whack, and you want to have limited marital sex. So as God says in the Quran in chapter 4, verse 24, and it's Allah's will to lighten your burdens, for humankind was created weak. So as we see as you can research yourself, our DNA has been tampered with. The scientists clearly see that our telomeres have been shortened, and the longer our telomeres are, it increases the lifespan of a human being. So human beings used to live into the thousands of years of age, but now we barely live into the hundreds. So alien genetic scientists came down, most likely the Syrian and the Orion genetic scientists came in, meddled with our DNA to make us more of a slave race, shorten shorten our lifespans, put a lot of DNA commands in the DNA to make us more subservient to them, to make us more like slaves. So what they didn't realize was they were creating a fast track for higher souls to come in and grow spiritually very, very quickly, surpassing the aliens themselves spiritually. So with all their meddling, with all their technology, with them even meddling humans behind the scenes even today, they created so many different varieties of human beings. So this created a opportunity for advancing souls to come into the human being, which was created weak. But as you know, if you go to the gym and work out, if you work the heavier weights, you're going to gain muscle mass more. So by creating the human being weak, tampering with the genetics, this created more effort on the soul's part to overcome the DNA commands, to override these DNA commands, and so the soul can express itself and embody these God source codes. So we're working against our DNA. We're working against our ego. We're working against the aliens, the genetic scientists, all their technology and advancement. So this gives us a lot of hurdles to overcome. And these are some of the ways, my techniques, and how to raise the Schumann resonance. So one of the things they also did was, from my experience, I know having sex between a man and a woman creates a short circuit, and sort of short circuits the spiritual power of one has. So celibacy is very powerful. The marital way is the more balanced approach, and by having limited marital sex, usually I have, sex with my wife maybe once or twice a month, and this helps me stay very spiritually powered. So I noticed when I do have marital sex, the Schumann resonance quiets down for a bit, usually for 4 or 5 days, up to a week, before my power starts embodying again. Unless, like we see here, was more of us all together, embodying these God source codes together. I really felt high vibe today at work. I'm self-employed tradesman, and so I get the opportunity to listen to all sorts of YouTube videos on my phone or Rumble or whatever. So I like to listen to a lot of what the spiritual community is talking about. Other people that are high consciousness, and I could tell a lot of people, some people watch my videos, but what I also notice is that sometimes it's just downloaded through the things, what God downloads to me, I find it gets downloaded to other people as well. So I get to see that reflection in people. So people, especially when I make the video, I wanted to mention this in my previous video that, when I put out, like on my other channel, For Allah, I put a lot of God codes in that, and when people watch those videos that have those God codes, it really expands, the Schumann resonance really expands. People embody these light codes in a collective. So by spreading God's light codes, via YouTube and other media sources, really expands the light and expands the consciousnesses, and we see that reflecting in the Schumann resonance. So they created a shortage, so you don't want to have too much marital sex, you don't want to whack. Celibacy is very potent as well, but you don't want to be strict with your ego. And you want to combine all these practices together. So if you're really good at one thing but not so good as the other, it's going to hamper your spiritual power. So you want to have a good balance of charity, forgiveness, gratitude, meditation. If you have a prayer practice, remembering God's source, embodying God source codes in your way. Remember that we are all on different paths to oneness, and so what can work for me might not be so great for you, but embodying any of these things will help. As I've been using the Schumann resonance as a way to see what really works and what doesn't work. So the techniques, so I've been doing this for years now, and the techniques really do work because they're tried and tested, and you know, what I practice, I see the effects. So I don't see much effects on the Schumann resonance. I know this practice is not very effective, and the ones that I see get big results, and I tried them for a very long time, and they're tried and true, and we get to see the results here, that the very next day, from my very first video with these techniques and practices, how to raise the vibrations, people embody the light codes. This can also be done just by listening to me. You can feel the energy, the vibration. You can embody that by just listening to this video as well. So, you know, that's how we can transmit light code, God source light codes to each other. Is another method, is by using social media and the internet to reach more ears and eyes and hearts across the world and beyond. So I also wanted to mention, you know, this light code here. I want to mention the download I got the day before this occurred. So this was basically on Father's Day, and it lasted, I think, for a day or two. And I was really high vibing. You know, I didn't have any marital sex for about 3 weeks, so I was really high energy. And the conversation I had the day before with my wife, I was mentioning that I was watching or listening or both to a podcast discussing about God, and one guy was for God, and the other guy was kind of like an atheist going against. And he asked the question to the guy, you know, can God make 2 + 2 = 5? And the guy supporting, you know, on God's side said, no, God, you know, 2 + 2 will always be 4. And I'm thinking, no, that's not true. From my experience, and also mentions in the Quran that God can multiply wealth many times over. And I've experienced this, and I gave an example to my wife. I said, remember the time where just, you know, wasn't too long ago, I gave a $50 tip to my accountant who did our taxes, and I said the very next job I did, I got like $100 tip, and then like the week after, I got another tip of $50 from another place that I work from the clients there. So I said, you know, I gave $50 as a tip, and then I got $150 back. You know, so that $50 turned into $150. You know, and that's how God can make 2 + 2 = 5. So God multiplies good deeds and charity many times over if you do it for the right causes and the right intentions, and to help others and so forth. So, you know, this is why, you know, I mentioned charity. It's very important. This is, you know, God promotes charity, promotes forgiveness, gratitude, meditation, contemplation. Embodying all these God sources will help raise the Schumann resonance. So, yeah, I'm super thankful. You know, I was kind of expecting it, but not this powerful. That I knew there was probably going to be some, you know, spike the next day, because I did have a lot of light codes, God source codes in that video, and people did embody it. You know, I listened to a few people today on YouTube, and I can tell they embodied it somehow. Either it was a download or they watched the video, and they got the light codes. So it's great to see. I'm super happy, and you know, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Now we're still on course to have more light blasts, more power blasts. You know, by Thursday, Saturday. I'm going to read some Quran after this video to embody more light codes, and maybe do a little bit of meditation. And you know, my power is increasing as that I'll probably go about 2 weeks or so without any conjugal relations with my wife. So that's sort of the plan so far. So I'll be in touch again soon, God willing, in the next video, probably within a day or two, to give an update. So thank you so much. Take God as your shield and protector, and may the peace and blessings of God's source be with you. Take care. Peace.